Well, that's not good. Got the fuel filter out, got the stem and the heater out and everything. Looks like the fuel bowl is full of aluminum shavings. So at this point in time, I'm speculating that the mechanical pump has given up the ghost. And quite frankly, I am tired of putting mechanical pumps in this thing. So looks like we're going to be doing a conversion to electric fuel. All right, we're back. We've got some unscheduled upgrades that we need to tend to. So no messing around. Let's just get on in it. So, with our fuel bowl being completely full of debris, as you saw, that's not a pretty sight, not something I ever wanted to see, not something I was expecting to see. Wasn't having a fuel problem, just regular maintenance found it. But the time has come. I am not doing another mechanical pump in this thing. So we're going to install Irate Diesel's electric fuel conversion kit, which requires a whole bunch of stuff from here to go somewhere else. So I'm going to unhook the batteries. We're going to dig in. I'm going to pull the intake and the well, both, everything out. We'll probably I'm assuming we're going to have to move the glow plug relay for now, just to get it out of the way. My goal for today is to just get everything out of the valley and try to get it clean. I just ordered the kit yesterday, you know. I mean, just 2 days ago that we found all of the shrapnel in the filter housing, so it's not like I even have parts on hand to do this yet, but I'm not going to drive it till it's fixed, so I might as well start stripping it down and getting everything clean. So I'm going to grab some wrenches and we're going to start ripping this all apart. All right, a little bit of a progress update here. I got the entire wiring harness pulled away, disconnected from everything on the motor. You can see that kind of cleans this area up a lot, so it's going to be a little easier to work on. Here's my fuel return lines, which are actually look like Dash 4A and braided hoses. You can see they're all dry rotted and cracking. Maybe you can see it. I don't know if you can see it on the video. We got to break these loose, so that's, I'm gonna guess that's probably 9/16. It is? Okay. I'm gonna break these two loose. Then I gotta get down in, and there is a hose clamp on the fuel drain, so I gotta get that off. And then we will disconnect 1, 2, 3, and then a fourth one way down there. Get all the fuel lines. I'm gonna, I may have to cut some of these. Usually I just cut them and put new hoses on. So anytime I have the fuel bowl out, I probably do that the same this time as well, especially because I don't need to reuse them. And then we gotta, once I get these lines out of the way, we gotta actually get down in there, and it's 2 or 3 bolts, I think. 3? I forget offhand. Get them out, and then we can take the whole fuel bowl, fuel regulator, everything will just come right out, and that'll give us room to get down to the fuel pump. Oh, it's tight. Okay, let's see. Yep. Now we gotta get all these fuel lines to come apart at basically the same time. There we go. Yeah, what are we stuck on? Oh, this is looped around. Okay, and we gotta unplug the IPR. There we go. Okay, fuel bowl is now removed from the truck. All right, with the fuel bowl out, next thing we can do is we can go off this fuel pump. But before I do that, I need to make some room. I have this crossover pipe here. This is not factory. This is a crossover line for the high pressure oil. If you are not aware, the 7.3s, the injection pump feeds, I shouldn't say injection pump, the high pressure oil pump feeds oil to each head, but it's deadheaded. There's no common line, so you can get imbalance in pressure between the two heads. So there's a couple companies that offer this prefab that you can just buy and install in your engine. I was a cheapskate, so I just made my own out of some stainless tubing and some 5/16 JSC fittings. But it definitely helps. I definitely, like the day I installed it, I could tell it was idling a little smoother. So it does make a difference in the way the engine runs. But obviously, you know, it's very much in my way, especially because, you know, with the turbos coming out too. So get this out of the way. And now I got to get in here. There's a monster banjo bolt on the back side of the fuel pump. I want to say it's 1.25 inches, maybe. I forget. I got to get a wrench in there. It is not, it's a pain. It is definitely a pain to get to, but it's got to be done. So let me go find some wrenches and get it apart. Yeah, it is 1.25 inches. And as you can see, there is not a whole lot of room to work with here, but it's got to be done. So I'm going to get this out, and then we will come back and grab the ratchet. There's, oh Jesus, this sucks. Maybe I can turn it by hand. Get this out, and then yeah, there we go, she's loose. Cool. There's crush washers in there. We're not concerned about them because we're not putting any of this stuff in, but you have to be careful when you are doing this. If you're putting a mechanical pump back in, it can be a pain to get them washers set in there so it don't leak. So that's out. Now all we got to do is take these 2 bolts out. Okay, now this should just lift out if everything is in good shape. We just got to be careful that we don't drop the plunger. Yeah, cool, we got the plunger. Oh geez, fuel. There's nothing holding this plunger in. It can see, it can totally fall out, and it can fall into your motor. So you got to make sure when you're taking the pump out, you don't drop that. Now, I gotta get, let me set this down. Pump is out. I still gotta fish my banjo bolt out of the back here, but I think what I'm gonna do before I go any farther, this is the hole for the mechanical pump, and that goes right down to the camshaft. So I'm going to put something in that hole. I'm gonna plug that temporarily. The electric fuel kits always come with freeze plugs just to plug that hole permanently. I don't have the kit yet because I just ordered it yesterday, so I'm just gonna put something in this hole so I can get in here and clean. I'm fully expecting diesel fuel to get down in here, which means 100% we will be doing an oil change when we're done here, because I don't want diesel contaminated oil in the crankcase. So I think that's probably where we're gonna pause for today, because I'm just gonna spend some time in here trying to, you know, cover my plenums, cap that hole, clean up some of this fuel and oil and stuff, and then probably tomorrow after work we'll come out here, we'll get the downpipe disconnected from the turbo and try and get, oh geez, we have to try and get the uppipe disconnected. That's not fun. Getting the turbo pedestal off the block, also not fun. So I think we're just going to save all that for tomorrow. This way I can start on it fresh and early, and I don't have to worry about you know, running out of time in the middle of it. So yeah, I'm gonna do some cleanup and we'll come back to this tomorrow. All right, we're working on turbo removal today. You can see I've already removed the clamp from the downpipe. Now I'm trying to get these bolts out in the back here. You can kind of see like one, and where can I put the flashlight? There's the stud, that one, which you can see I already broke. and then there is another stud all the way down there. So I'm using kind of a oddball collection. I started out with a ratchet with 1 or 2 random extensions, whatever length fits. I'm using different lengths for all 4. And then you got to use swivel sockets. It's the only way, at least for the top 2, you can get straight on with a ratchet, and it's plenty okay. Although in my case, this one snapped instantly as soon as I touched it. So we're gonna have to sort that one out later. Now, getting down to these 2 down here, you have no choice. I have to come in with a swivel socket. It's not easy to get to, but you can get them down in there. In my case, the bolts are a 13 mil socket, but the nuts on the studs are 15, which is super fun, trying to fit that big socket in there. What I ended up doing was breaking them loose with 3/8 drive, and then now I'm stepping down to 1/4 inch drive just to get them out, because the smaller profile of the socket and then the slimmer extension kind of fits in there better, because like you can kind of see, if I don't even know if I can get this on here single-handed. I may not be able to, but it's not fun. It's not fun, but it is doable. So I'm gonna do it, and rather than let you fast forward through video of me riding the struggle bus, we'll just come back to this once I have all 4 out and we're ready to start on the pedestal. All right, with our exhaust bolts out, now what we got to do is get to the turbo pedestal. Front 2, easy enough. Just, you know, 10 mil and a couple extensions and you're golden. Now the 2 in the back, these are the ones that suck. So this is pretty much the best way I can think of to do it, which is 10 mil on a universal, and then just a couple extensions, because you have to get way down back. I don't even know if I can get my camera in there to see it. Yeah, maybe you can kind of see it there past the fuel line. Got to get way in there, and you can actually snake these extensions. Where did I put them? Right here. Down in, and you kind of need your other hand in there. Maybe you can, maybe you, no, okay, got it. Right there, got it. And now I can get it from here with ratchet, so that's a lot easier. And now I'm gonna use basically the same setup for this one over here, which is, oh, if I can get in here, way down, get that line out of the way down there. Where can I get the camera around the fuel line? You kind of have to, well, let me just grab the extensions and I'll show you. So we're gonna use the same thing. We're gonna come in here, and I don't know if I can be cool if I can hold the flashlight, but I'm holding a camera. Okay, hold on one moment here. I gotta move something. There you go, we got it. So way down in there, and I'm probably just going to take this short extension off, but then the same thing. Now I can grab this one with the ratchet and hopefully spin them out. There's no chance of the bolts coming out, but as long as we can get them completely unthreaded, then we'll lift them up. When we pull the turbo out, they'll just come up with us. We'll pull them out later. You'll, if you've never done it before, you'll see what I mean once I get the turbo out. But I'm gonna sneak back in there and break them loose, and then we can finally get this turbo out of here. All right, moment of truth. Let's see if we can get this thing out of here. Oh, gotta get it off the studs. There we go. Okay, turbo removed. All right, with turbo out, now you can kind of see what I mean about these 2 bolts not easily removable. So but yeah, anyways, that takes care of that. This thing looks to be in okay shape. We'll maybe look at it a little bit closer. So the next thing for me to do anyways, obviously now we have to get this fuel line out of here. Looks like the fittings are starting to, the seals are starting to get a little loose, but for the system I'm using, this is going away. So I'll probably pull that out next. Now, I need to do up pipes. So I'm actually gonna have to go in a little bit farther and ooh, look at that. See, I told you I had a leak and it's worse than I thought. Okay, glad we're doing this. So I gotta get these apart. Not 100% sure what I'm gonna do yet. This is the Banks down pipe, and it's 2-piece, so I might split it in the middle and lift the top half out. That'll give me a little more room. I don't know yet. I'm gonna mess around with this, figure out how I can get to all the hardware, see how I can get this apart, and we'll come back once I have a game plan. All right, well, I got the clamp apart, but the down pipe, that's not coming apart, so it is what it is. There is some wiggle room here. Hopefully it's enough that we can fish up pipes in without any problem. So I just got to finish this here, and that's the last piece of the puzzle. That pretty much completes the disassembly of the fuel system, I think. I'm not sure yet which fittings. We might be replacing all of these fittings. I don't know yet because the conversion kit isn't here yet. So I'm pretty much going to wrap it up here for the day, and then tomorrow come back out here bright and early, and we will start to get these up pipes out of here. All right, we got to get the collector off the up pipes. There's no way this is coming apart otherwise with the cab on the truck, as far as I can tell anyways. So looks like it's 10 mil, so I'm gonna try and break this one loose. Oh geez, let's see if it's gonna, oh, it's turning a little bit. All right, I'm gonna try and get this one loose, and then we'll see what kind of weird collection of extensions and swivels it's gonna take to get to the other three. Hopefully we can get these out. All right, change of plans. I'm not screwing around with this thing all morning. We're gonna get these pipes out. We'll deal with them bolts later. Okay, problem solved. Let's go get the lower bolts out. All right, that's our up pipe where it bolts to the manifold. You can see the bolts are not in terrible shape. That's because I had them out like 5 years ago. I had the head off. So hopefully this side will come back apart pretty easily. We're gonna find out here momentarily. I think last time I did it with the fender liner out because I was already planning on pulling the exhaust manifold. This time I'm going to try to do it from down here, I think. Just grab a ratchet and wrench on there and see if I can turn them loose. So, yeah, let me grab some tools and we'll see how this goes. So it's actually pretty easy to get a ratchet and wrench up in there. And then, like I said, I've had this side apart a couple years back. So this actually came apart super easy. So that's cool. Passenger side done. Now, we got to roll over here and see about getting those two out. Well, it ain't easy, but you actually can get a wrench in the socket up in this space. So, and they are kind of coming apart. So, yeah, I'm just gonna lay here for a little while and try and get these two bolts out. That wasn't too bad. One came apart pretty easily, and then the other one snapped off immediately. So, yeah, that's cool. Now I gotta get back under the hood and see how easy it is to actually get these up pipes out of the truck. Okay, let's see. What kind of room do you have? And the answer is no room. There's no room at all. There's no room at all. This one might. I wonder if I can go down with that one. Okay. Passenger side pipe looks like there might come down if the trans dipstick isn't in the way. So I think I'm gonna try that. I think I'm gonna take that bolt out up there in the back of the head holding the tube in place and see if it either gives me enough room that I can rotate the pipe and go up, or I can rotate it and come down. Okay, dipstick tube is out. Let's see if that helps. And, oh yeah, it definitely does. The flange gets caught on the down pipe though. Maybe I can squeak it over. That'd be really cool if I could have got the down pipe out. But maybe I can do this. Yes. Okay. That's one down. No idea how we're gonna get the new one in. That is a problem for another day. Now I gotta figure out how we're gonna get the driver's side pipe out. Wow, I gave it a tug and the collector came off the pipe entirely. So I think it's pretty safe to say these things were leaking pretty bad. Now, the question is it gonna come up or is it gonna go down? I'm gonna get under the truck and see what we're getting stuck on, because I feel like we're right there. Like, it should come out. All right, back under the truck I go. All right, here's what I've got. I've got the trans cross member out. I've got the transmission down about as low as I can get it to go in the frame rails. And I have got just enough room that I can get, I think I can get, anyways. Yeah. Just enough room to get the pipe out from the bottom. No idea what we're gonna do when the bellowed ones come, but that is a problem for another day. Oh, look at that. All that work for nothing. All right, we've got some downtime here while I'm waiting on parts. So I've cleaned the valley a little bit, and actually I went so far as to pull the driver's side plenum. I'm getting ready to pull the passenger side one now. Doesn't look, this side's a little, driver's side real easy to get to. Just take your high pressure oil line off. This side is not much worse. Except for maybe getting in here. You can see with the light, with the sun shining in my eyes here. There's a couple bolts down here that are gonna suck to get to. So we'll sort that one out. And then obviously I gotta get the GoPro relay bracket out of here. But I've never had these off. So after almost 30 years, I think it might be a good idea to do them just as like a preventative maintenance thing. I'd hate to put it together and then, you know, a month down the road, them leak. So yeah, I'm gonna grab the impact gun and we're gonna zip these bolts out, get this thing off. All right, I just zipped all these out with an impact gun, easy enough. This one here in the corner, you can't really get to too well. I used a 13mm swivel socket. You might be able to do it with a regular socket and a universal. This one down here in the corner there, there's no room to remove the bolt. It's gonna hit the high pressure oil pump. I think the cover is slotted. I think we'll be able to just loosen that up until it hits the pump, and then we should be able to just slip the plenum out from underneath it. So we're gonna find out here shortly. Okay, it is as I suspected. The cover is slotted, so kind of got her popped loose, and then it slips right out. And it may not have been leaking, but we're already here, so I'm gonna clean these up, and tomorrow we'll get them RTV'd up and reinstalled. Okay. All right. Whoop. Okay, that one's installed. We're just snugging them up for now. I don't want to squish the RTV out by torquing them down, so we'll just snug them up. We'll let this cure, and then we'll come back and we'll do our final torque. Now, I'm going to try and shoehorn this one in here. It's a little harder because of that bolt down there, but I'm going to get that on, and then after that's done, we're going to move on and see if we can't get some up pipes in this thing. It's been a couple days, but parts have arrived. So New trans mount. I got new silicone boots from Riff-Raff because mine were getting kind of rough. I got my Bellowed up pipes from Riff-Raff as well. These are the ceramic coated ones. They are sweet looking. New hardware and gaskets. So that's all here. I got a new collector since obviously I cracked mine. This is the Dorman one. Hopefully, you know, it's a Dorman part. It probably mostly fits. We'll find out soon enough. And then I also got my fuel kit from Irate. Already looking pretty nice. Very nicely bent fuel lines. I haven't even, this just came in the mail yesterday afternoon. I haven't even had time to unpack it yet, but first impressions just from seeing these very nicely made up stainless lines is this is going to be awesome. So today, very first thing we're going to do is we're going to get these up pipes in the truck, and then hopefully I can get the collector in as well. Can't do the turbo yet because the Irate kit needs some fittings in the back of the head replaced. Not exactly sure what all that's going to entail. Just know the turbo is in the way. So we're going to get the up pipes in. We'll get the collector on, and then we will start the new fuel system install. All right, I have successfully managed to shoehorn these up pipes into this truck. The passenger side one was not too bad, especially with the transmission cross member out and the dipstick removed. This one kind of fished down and in, and that one wasn't too bad. This side was a nightmare. I did manage to get it in from the top down, but we got to go down below. I got to show you what I had to do to make this thing fit. All right, so obviously I have the transmission and transfer case down basically as low as they'll go. It still wasn't enough room to get the pipe into the space provided. So if you look here, there's a section of the cab where the sheet metal comes over and it looks like it goes straight back. It's a little mangled there. I'll pull the flashlight away. A little mangled there. That's because I had to bend that back. I kind of got in there at a pry bar and just pushed and prodded and bent that corner of the sheet metal back, which gave me literally just enough room to get the clamp down through. The pipe came down through, but it was getting the clamp down. That was the biggest problem. So obviously I've already scratched the crap out of the ceramic coating, which kind of sucks, but thankfully they're coated outside and inside, so we didn't wreck the coating too much. But yeah, this is not fun at all to put in. Now, I haven't tightened these bolts up yet. I have them just snug so the pipes can move a little bit, because I don't want to snug these down until after the turbo is 100% completely installed. I want to make sure these are seated up correctly against the manifold. So this is good enough for now. Now we're going to go back under the hood and we'll start laying out the fuel lines for the electric fuel. That way we can get the turbo installed, and then we can actually finish installing the up pipes. Well, it's been a minute, but I did manage to get this collector installed. I'm not gonna lie, this job sucks. It is really hard getting these little bolts in. Not this one. This one, of course, is easy, but like that one in the back there, and it is a nightmare. This one down here, this is not fun. You know, 1 out of 10 would not recommend. That sucks. So, but it's done. So that means it's time to move on and actually get the fuel system installed. So obviously I've already got the box open. So here's our fancy fuel pump and filter assembly, looking pretty spiffy, I think. And we've got a wiring harness kit. We've got a kit with a ton of fuel hose. I ordered the kit with the extra hose because I don't need the fuel selector valve on the frame rail anymore. So, but we'll get into that. We also have all these nice pre-bent stainless hard lines and AN fittings. These look like turbo pedestal O-rings, so that's kind of neat. I'm not sure what's in that bag. So technically it doesn't come with instructions, but there is a link to a website where you can pull it up. 17-page PDF, pretty detailed. I've already run through it once already. I'm going to skim through it once more, and then we're going to start putting this together. Alright, we've already got the fuel feed fittings in the back. Now we got to put the fuel return fittings in the front. And these two fittings are going to go basically right down there in the front of the cylinder head. This one's going to be here. And then this one is going to be basically like this, but there's no access to it. It's kind of like buried down in here, so we got no choice. We got to pull the AC compressor off, and then we'll get in there and pull the accessory drive bracket up and kind of like pull that forward. Then we should be able to get in there with the correct size wrench, and we can spin that out. Where are we gonna go with this? Where are we? Not far. Well, hopefully that's far enough away. What can we do here? Maybe that. Well, that don't work. Yeah, a little bit. There we go. Okay. All right, fourth one away. Now we can get in here, and here's my original fuel return line. It's getting pretty crusty down here, but that's okay. Take this out, and then we'll get that fitting out of the head. There we go. Oh, well, here we go. Okay. Okay, that should do it for that one. Now I've got to get that one down there replaced. Oh, it's loose. It is not very tight. Oh, it hits the tube for the back pressure valve. Seriously? Okay, I can work with that. Okay. Somewhere around there. Ah. All right, this is coming off and going away. We will not be putting that back on. All right, it's time to start putting the fuel lines in. Here's our first line. This will be going to the passenger side head, like so. Okay, that kind of fits up around everything pretty nicely. And here's the fitting that's going to go to our passenger side head. Now this is shaped a little differently than what's in the manual. They must have changed the shape of these two slightly, but not really any place this can go but here, so. Come on. There we go. Okay. Now, let me get the camera in here. These two, where can I put this where the sun isn't blinding? Okay, this I think works. These two fittings basically come in right here, right between the glow plug relay and your exhaust back pressure. sensor, and then we're going to take this T, and this is going to go here, okay, and then this one is going to go here. All right, now I'm not going to tighten any of these fittings down yet. I'm just going snug. After the whole system is done, we'll go back and we'll tighten every fitting down. For now, I just want to get everything in and plumbed. All right, we're about ready to put the fuel regulator in, so I pulled that out of the box already. I have the screw in the top. It's not putting any tension on the spring yet, it's just in. I've already installed my fuel pressure gauge. Now, we have to put some fittings into the regulator here. Now, this is where it gets a little wonky. The instructions are going to tell you to take this 90-degree orb fitting, and we're going to put this guy in here, and it's going to aim straight down. And then we're going to take this straight fitting, and we're going to put that in there. And then we're going to take our second straight fitting, which the kit comes with a 45. So I'm pretty sure this is probably a change they've made to make routing easier. It's my opinion that if you put the 45 in and we aim it towards the 90, that should make, this is going to be the return to tank. This should make the return a little easier to route. So that's the direction I'm going to put it. So if you've never messed with these fittings before, orb fittings are, it says for O-ring boss. So this is not, these are not tapered threads, they're straight cut. The O-ring is making the seal down in this beveled machine bevel here. So we're going to put this guy in and we're going to snug it up. You don't put 100 foot-pounds on these things, geez. Okay, we're just going to snug this guy up right there, done. And on the 90s and the 45s, you thread them in kind of until you reach the angle that you want, and then this nut gets spun down and it pushes the washer, pushes against the washer, which pushes against the O-ring, and that's what makes the seal. This way we can aim these fittings, you know, more or less, you know, wherever we want them to aim, and they'll still seal. So I'm going to aim the 45 that way, and we'll test that. I think that's going to be the ticket. It's turning a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to aim my 90 down. Let me back the nut off first. Okay, that's going to go there. Okay, and that's it. We don't kill it. So now we're going to take our two lines and a regulator and finish, well, more or less finish plumbing the motor. Okay, this line is supposed to go here, a shallow bend down. Okay. And then this one is going to go over here. Okay. And then this should just line up with both of them if we got our fittings clocked correctly. Jack's going to bark up a storm. I feel like we have the 45 on the head slightly clocked wrong. All right, I'm going to loosen all these fittings up. I'm going to loosen this elbow up and just kind of tinker with this a little bit. And then once I get everything sorted, and this is standing here nice and straight and true, we'll snug everything down, and then we'll come back and move on to the next step. So feed and return up here is plumbed, but now we got to get down to the tank. So these are the original feed and return going to the original bowl. There's a bracket right here that we're gonna have to undo, and then these lines kind of snake down here. There's another bracket down there. and down there is where they turn the soft lines and they jump over to the frame rail. There's one of them right down there, and off they go on their merry way. So we are going to be replacing these with 3/8 hose that the system came with. So I got to get these out of here because we have to run the new lines down. So I'm going to set this camera down, try and get that out, try and get that bracket down there apart, and we'll get these lines out, and then I'm just going to fiddle around with this for a while and figure out how we're actually going to get these lines plumbed in the truck, because we're going to go down the rail. We're going to go all the way to the selector valve. Maybe you're going to stop there. I'm going to get rid of the selector valve, of course, but for starters, I'm going to try and get these lines down and out and try and get everything out of the frame rail as well. And then after everything's out, then we'll start figuring out how we're actually going to route these things in here. Today we got to get the fuel pump and filter housing assembly installed. So this is it. Pretty nice billet bracket, or billet manifold, I guess. Stainless steel bracket designed to bolt to the bottom of the frame rail, keep everything tucked up inside where it's hopefully out of harm's way. So no time to waste. I'm going to climb into the truck. We're going to mark this thing out, get the holes drilled in the frame. Not a whole lot of room to work with under here, but it fits in there pretty well. Just clears cross member, just clears the transfer case. So it would have been cool if it lined up with a hole in the frame, but it doesn't. So I'm going to transfer these 2 holes, and I'm going to get this bolted up real quick. So there's the new home of our fuel pump and filter assembly. Just kind of mounted with temporary hardware for right now, because I don't know if I'm going to have to take it up or down while I'm plumbing or wiring. For right now, I think I'm going to start running the lines from the engine down. I think I'm going to try to run the supply down to the pump, which obviously will come in here to this JSC fitting here, and then maybe we'll run the return all the way back to the tank. I'm not sure yet, but I do think I want to get those 2 done first. So back under the hood we go, I guess. All right, it's been about a week since the last clip was shot. There's been developments. For one, you can see I no longer have a Super Duty bumper on the front of the green Bronco. Unfortunately, we hit a deer and completely waffled this thing. It's mangled. There's busted plastics, everything. One fog light is broken. There's some fur. One of the bumper brackets actually bent when we struck it, so everything is pretty well mangled. So I don't know what I'm going to do about this guy yet, if I'm going to source another one, or I don't know. It's still the wound is too fresh. So we also have the half cab off of the gray Bronco that is currently rocking a soft top, which I think actually fits it. It looks really nice with the soft top on it. Definitely, I dig it. We actually took this thing on a bit of a road trip last week and went out to Carlisle for a dyno session. That was pretty cool. So we're back from all that. This thing's back on the road. So now I need to buckle down and just get these fuel lines in this thing. All right, working on the fuel lines back here. A little bit of a dilemma. I ordered a kit for a single tank because I only have the single 38-gallon tank in the back. Didn't consider that most trucks only have a single tank up here in the saddle mount, which obviously I don't have because this is where my water methanol injection tank is. So I'm a little short on hose. That's on me. It's not Irate's fault. That's my fault. But I have a solution that I think is going to work. I'm actually going to recycle a small portion of the original fuel lines just to here. You can see I've already cut them off. I flared them for a fuel line quick connect. In this particular case, I already have the supply hooked up. I haven't clamped it yet, and that's only because I'm not positive on the length of the hose yet. However, I do have it run. It comes all the way over to my pump now, so this takes care of fuel inlet And now we have to do our high pressure line out down the frame up to the motor. And then of course we have to do the return, which is going to come from the motor all the way back to the tank. And I don't think I have enough hose to do that in one run without having to either get hose or make big waste big segments so I can put, you know, one continuous line in. What I've decided to do instead is I whipped up this bracket, real simple, just a piece of angle iron and a pair of 45-degree bulkhead fittings, and I'm going to mount this on the frame rail just behind the Rabs valve. The 45s should kind of help like steer the fuel lines away and help them get around the Rabs valve a little bit. And then we're going to do 2 new lines, so that way I can use all the Parker stuff that came with the kit up to this point. And then I'm going to do 2 new lines that I still haven't made yet. I got to measure and everything, and we're going to do those and run them all the way up to our feed and return on the top of the motor. So I'm going to roll under the truck, I'm going to get this mounted up, and then we're going to start messing with getting lines from the pump to here and getting from here back to the tank. And then it's real windy, it's cold. I'm going to try to bang this out real quick, and then I'll come back once it's done. I'll show you what I got. All right, check this out. Got my fuel inlet, got my supply coming off the pump. I ended up doing a 45 just because it kind of curves the fuel line away from the transfer case. I didn't like how close it was, could have been rubbing. So that's run up. Up here we have our manifold bracket installed. Here's feed, here's return, and then here's my 2 new lines that are run up to the motor. Again, you know, feed on top, which I marked with red tape so I don't mix them up. Return here, and then if we go under the hood, our lines come right up here in the original space that the original hard lines did. There actually is room to put the accessory drive back on. These are all run where they belong. So that actually completes the fuel system. I just went back, double checked, every fitting's tight. So before I go any farther, like I'm ready to start, you know, I can put the turbo in, I can put the accessory drive back together. Before I do anything else, I think we're gonna hot wire the fuel pump, get the pump running, prime the whole system. I can adjust the regulator, get my fuel pressure up, but mainly I want to leak check the system. I want to make sure every fitting is good, is leak free, no issues, and as long as that's good to go, then we can actually start putting this thing back together, and hopefully we can get it running. All right, it's go time. We're going to test the fuel system. I was going to use my little Amazon power supply. It doesn't make enough current to power the pump. So what I think we're going to do, I'm going to take this and I'm going to try rig up some alligator clips or something. I just want to get the pump to run so we can check for fuel leaks. And so I've already got, I want to set the fuel pressure regulator, see if I've already got an Allen key ready to go. So let me set this camera down. We're going to rig some wires up, and you know, hopefully this works. Okay, here we go. This works. Oh, I hear it. Hear the pump running. Okay, let's set fuel pressure. We need to crank this guy way up, I think. I feel like maybe I should be checking for leaks. I don't see anything yet. We're not puking fuel under the truck. We're probably purging filters right now. All right, let me climb up here. Oh yeah, look at our bill of fuel pressure. Holy cow. Okay, so we are at 60. We want to shoot for 65 pounds. They recommend between 60 and 70. So I'm just gonna go right in the middle at 65, I'm sorry. That's not 65. I hear fuel now. Sounds like fuel is purging through all these lines now. Okay, seems to be maintaining 65. That's cool. I'm gonna lock this down, and I don't see. Pump makes a little bit of noise, but most importantly, I don't see any leaks. Nothing puking under the truck. Oh, this is wonderful. Okay, this is awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. All right, I'm gonna let this run for probably another minute just to make sure there's no air in the fuel system. And man, this is awesome. Okay, I think we're gonna put the truck back together, put the turbo in, do the intake, put the accessory drive back together, get all that stuff done. I wanna do the wiring harness last. I'll get into why when we get there, but yeah, this kicks ass. All right, a little bit of a progress update. Turbo's back in, intake is in. I have new silicone boots, Riff-Raff, those are in. I got my whole accessory drive done, that's in. I'm working on the wiring harness now. You can see I've taken all this. The loom, you know, after almost 30 years, the loom is all shot, the tape is crumbling, so I've redone this, reloomed all that, prettied it all up. I now have this mess over here to deal with. And I mean, it looks like, well, it doesn't look great. Everything is crumbling. A lot of this needs to be repaired, but also a lot of this is going away. You know, we have eliminated the fuel ball, so we don't need any of this anymore. The water and fuel sensor, the fuel pressure, we don't need the fuel ball heater. We don't need any of that. So now's the time. While I'm gonna strip this down and fix all this and relume all this, I'm gonna go through and find everything we don't need, probably go all the way back to this connector, and I think I'm actually just gonna take the entire wire out of the harness. I don't like the idea of cutting wires. I'd rather take the plug apart, depin them, and remove the wires complete. So I'm not gonna bore you with hours of me tinkering with a wiring harness here. I'm just going to strip this down to nothing, examine it, figure out everything I need, everything I don't need, and once I have it going back together, I'll come back and I'll show you what we did. All right, so I'm laying the wiring harness out. For the most part, everything is as it would go. Now it's still sloppy, and I still have, you know, dry rotted loom and tape and stuff, but for the most part, everything is back where it needs to be, and it's not terrible looking. Like, we can fix some of this up here. The thing that irks me is, like, here's the connector for the fuel ball, and you could, you know, stuff it under here in the corner and make it go away, and nobody will ever notice it's there. The problem is the wiring harness for the fuel ball goes to the IPR. So now you got this whole junk harness here that you don't need, except you do, because here's your pigtail for your IPR. So I think I'm not putting this in. Having all this wiring just stuck down here in the valley, that's lame. So what I'm gonna do, since I need to fix all this anyways, I'm gonna go into this connector and I'm gonna fish the wires out, bring them out probably over here where we have the connector for the pump and the ICP and everything. And I think I'm gonna change this loom and have the wires for the IPR also come out of here and loop down, and then I can eliminate a bunch of this junk. And you know, overall I think we can make this look a lot cleaner than it does. So yeah, that's the plan. Now I just got to make it a reality. Here's the wiring harness off the fuel ball. I started taking the wire loom off, and it was just like crumbling in my hands. And like, look at this, like the wires have practically melted to one another. Look, it's just a mess in here. I'm actually having a difficult time identifying the wires for the IPR just because they're so badly discolored. So obviously you can see I've replaced the pigtail once. So we're gonna nip this off, you know, basically right here. And this is all gonna go right in the junk because all these wires are shot and we don't need any of them anyway. And then we'll splice this in somewhere else. But like geez, like I had no idea that this was as bad. I'm surprised I wasn't having any, like the insulation's melted off the wires. I'm surprised I wasn't having any problems with it as is. So yeah, wild. All right, quick update on the harness here. I've cut the IPR pigtail out of the original harness, went to the fuel ball, which is, you know, that's in pretty bad shape. So that's now tied in. here, all wired up. It's going to go in down through this loom here. That'll put it in the right place in the engine bay. I've removed all the wires we don't need. This is everything else for the fuel bowl, including the water and fuel module. So this is all done all the way out to the main connector. So now I'm just gonna kind of sit down, get some loom, get some tape, and we're gonna redo all this mess of dry rotted loom, make sure there's no other damaged wires anywhere, and kind of just like tinker with this for a little while, make it pretty, and then we'll slap it back in the truck. All right, there's the finished product. Looking much, much better now. So let's get this thing installed. Okay, I think that's it. Everything is now completely rewired. Obviously, I gotta go to Napa here in a little bit and get a new glow plug relay. I think that's it. I gotta fix my map line. Okay, all that's left now is the wiring for the fuel pump, which I wanted to show you because I came up with something kind of cool here. If we get under the truck, this is fully wired already. I already have the harness running all the way up to, jeez, don't get old. Okay, I already have the harness running all the way up in the truck, and you can't really see it, but it's right here. It kind of disappears in all the other harnesses for the truck. And yeah, I know the wiring that came with the Irate kit is pretty decent, honestly. It's a pretty nice, everything's soldered, adhesive shrink sleeve. It's actually pretty nice, insulated relay. But I was digging around over in this corner, and it occurred to me there's actually some unused slots in the fuse box. So I figured, what the hell, I got the time. I took the whole fuse box apart. This fuse, blank from the factory. This one here, blank from the factory. This relay, not from the factory, not anymore. I took the whole fuse box apart. I rewired it, added the contacts for this fuse just for the future, added the contacts for this fuse, 30 amp relay in, powering this relay here, and now this is the relay for our fuel pump. And I'm using the original, the key hot source for the fuel bowl heater, which comes off this fuse, is now triggering this relay. So as soon as you turn the key on, this relay, this fuse triggers this relay, turns the fuel pump on, and here's my 30 amp relay. So everything's completely contained in the fuel box, or in the fuse box, as if, you know, came this way from the factory. So super excited with how that came out. I just landed my ground for the pump over here on this stud, because that's where my battery grounds to. PCM grounds here, so this is a pretty good ground location. So but yeah, it took a lot of time to do, just because I'm working, you know, right here. I can't exactly take the fuse box out of the truck, but I do have another fuse box, so I want to show you how you can do this, because it's actually not as bad as you might think. All right, this is a fuse box out of a truck I parted out. I saved basically the whole wiring harness from a couple vehicles that I parted over the years just for parts. So came in handy yesterday. So what you can do is, well, let's start at the back, right? So on the back of your fuse box, take the back plastic cover off. It just kind of snaps in these four tabs here. And then you have this plastic insulator here. It's just held in with 2 Phillips screws. You can take that off. This reveals your bus bar. Now this literally just kind of like pops out, so I can kind of get in. There's 2 bars. You got to get under both. All right, and I can kind of just come in here and work this up and get under here. Maybe this end is stuck. Yep, this end is stuck. There we go. Okay, and the whole bus bar comes out now. It's just a bunch of contact points with a captured nut for your power. So pull that off, and now is when you want to remove this, and you kind of just reach in and release these tabs. There's one here, there's one over here. You can release, you can pull that out. This is what locks the pins in. So now all you have to do is come in here, release this little locking tab, and there we go. There's your contact. So this particular one happens to be power out of the fuse, hence it has the pigtail. But on the other side, it's just a contact just stuck in there. So if I carefully, you got to be careful that you don't break these pins off. These fuse boxes are getting pretty old, you know, but if you just carefully release that pin, there we go. The contact actually just falls right out. So this is the end that your fuse meets up on, and then the bus bar slips into that end. And all you do is go over to your fuse box, find your slot that's missing, and take this and just whoop, and that's it. So that's exactly what I did. I took a couple extra contacts out of here, out of this one, installed them in mine, and then I did the same thing for the relay. Because we're only using 4 out of 5, you can see all the contacts are missing from this one, because I took it apart yesterday, pulled the wires out from the backside, and just added them to mine. So actually pretty easy to do, and it's just a little awkward to do in the truck because, you know, I can cut all these wires away. But totally doable if you spend a little bit of time, and I think having it as OEM as possible, or at least as OEM looking, I think it's just, you know, it's nice. It's a real clean way to install it. Don't have to worry about extra relays under the hood or anything. So I think it's just a real nice, clean way to do it. So, yeah, so with that done, we are really close here. I think I'm gonna do an oil change because I'm concerned about fuel contamination. I don't know if the fuel pump was leaking fuel down into the valley, but I suspect it was. So I'm gonna do an oil change. I have to put my air intake back in. That might be it. I gotta try to get a glow plug relay. I don't know if it's gonna start. It's pretty cold without a glow plug relay. So I'm gonna fiddle around here, get the last couple things in, and yeah, we'll see if we can get it to start. We are basically done. Everything wired, everything plumbed, intakes back together, batteries are all hooked up. Got my new glow plug relay from Napa, basically ready to go. I just gotta do the oil change itself. And so I was going to run, I usually run a Motorcraft filter. So, you know, there's some debate on the internet over whether or not the Motorcraft 95A is as good as the 95. Me personally, I don't see it as a big a deal as some people on the internet do. Some people are really upset, saying that, you know, it's a completely different filter and there's a lot of changes. Personally, I can't find any real big difference internally, at least not from all the research I've done. It seems mainly just the gasket is a square profile now. But there is a lot of back and forth about this filter. But while I was digging around researching all this, I stumbled across the Fleet Guard, the LF9027. And let me open this up here. I haven't even opened one of these up yet. So this is a filter. It's supposed to be for like a some kind of Cummins application. I don't really know, but it is effectively the same size as Motorcraft filter. It's almost identical. Might be basically identical. Now, this one is a little different. You know, obviously it's got a massive seal on here. Holy cow! But there's something else going on in here that's a little different. So, and I got to come out here in the light. Maybe we can see it. But if you look down in there, there's kind of like a stem down in there. So these filters are, I'm going to call it two-stage. That's not really the right term for it, but you basically, up in this area is your traditional oil filter, and then down here in the bottom is actually a bypass filter. So they're doing the primary oil filtration up top, and then they're bleeding a small amount down through, bypassing it through a secondary filter, and then returning it back, much like aftermarket bypass filter units do, except in this case it's all in one. So it's like a 30 micron on the top, and then I want to say it was only 5 on the bottom. I think it was 5. It's pretty low micron, but it seems like a really good alternative to doing a expensive oil bypass kit, which also takes up a lot of room on the frame rail, which I'm not even sure. I was debating doing one, and I honestly don't know where I would put it. And then I stumbled across this. So we're going to try this filter out. We're going to see how it goes. I would say I'll give you long-term results, but you know, this truck only gets a few thousand miles a year on it, so this filter is going to get changed yearly whether it needs it or not. So but yeah, I'm kind of curious. I'm really looking forward to see you know, just how much better this filter is. So I'm gonna go grab some oil. I'm gonna get this filter swapped in, get the crankcase filled up, and finally it's time to start it. I think everything's done. Nothing more to do now than see if she'll start. We're gonna have to sort out. It looks like with the selector valve out, the fuel gauge doesn't read. I'm gonna have to look into the wiring a little bit, see how if we can figure that out. Maybe I can get that fixed. For the meantime, I'm going for a test drive. All right, we got the book here. I'm gonna sort out my fuel gauge. So looking at the manual here, when you flip the selector switch on the dash, it switches the selector valve down in the frame rail, of course, but the selector valve also switches the feed, so whichever tank you're running out of. It's got nothing to do with the switch in the dash. It's all done through the selector valve, which means in order to get my rear tank to read without the selector valve in place, all I have to do is take this yellow, light blue, pin 6, and jumper it to this yellow, white, which is pin 5. So looking at the connector for the selector valve, all I have to do is take these two wires on the end, jumper them together, and problem solved. So to that end, what I have done temporarily just to test that theory is I have two jumpers, pull the wires out of the connector, and I'm kind of just jumper them together, and yeah, it definitely works. So problem solved. I'm going to do something here. I'm going to clean this up, pretty this up, get these two wires jumpered together, make all this disappear, fix the loom and everything, and then you know, we're good to go for a test drive. All right, another successful test drive in the bag. This thing's running really good, and that means just one thing: I'm going wheeling. So thanks for sticking around, listen to me ramble about this whole project, and have a good one.